Steve, I know it's still relatively early, but this is the team with high aspirations. Do you have to do some kind of like rethinking about things after the recent stretch, or do you keep it to this is what we are and we keep it who we are? What is kind of what's the mind set right now?
Yeah, I mean, I actually like the trend where we're heading. We've been much better the last couple of weeks in kind of the key areas that we've talked about. Until the turnovers the other night, obviously that killed us in the Portland game. But all in all, I think we're heading in the right direction. I would love to get some continuity. It's been tough to string together games with everyone healthy and the same starting lineup. So, assuming everybody's available in Phoenix, we'll start the same way we did last game, and I'd like to keep doing that. To really build some continuity with the starting lineup and then also with the rotation off the bench.
I mean, do you almost, like you said there, do you almost have to force continuity even if there is some struggles?
Yeah, I mean, to be honest, it was impossible over the last couple of weeks. I mean, I don't think we've had Dre, Steph, and Jimmy all together since the Houston game, which was, 6 or 7 games ago. So, and then obviously Pat played so well on the road, and I wanted to reward him, and we got 2 wins, with him starting. And so circumstances have led to, some of the lack of continuity. But I can do a better job of trying to help the guys build some of that too.
How long a runway are you wanting to give at least this starting lineup?
I would love for this to be our starting lineup, but I never say never. I mean, it's our starting lineup going forward, and we'll give it a good look, and I feel confident with it. But we always have to, make adjustments as the season goes.
Even with all the injuries, you've had to make a bunch of tough decisions with the rotations. How tough was it to take Will Richard out of the rotation?
Really tough, because he's been really consistent. He's been, a calming force out there. Just the way he sprints the floor and gets to the right spots and takes care of the ball. But the numbers have kept us from playing him the last couple of games, and I talked to him and told him this is just how the NBA works, and we got a lot of players, and we're getting healthy and Melton back, so for the time being he's out of the rotation, but he's just got to stay ready.
You mentioned the other night the 5-9 mark in clutch games. What's the anatomy of that? Like, what in particular in the last 5 minutes of close games aren't you guys doing well?
Well, they're all different. Looking at every one of them, every one is slightly different, and in general, I think to close games you got to be able to get stops and take care of the ball. And if we do that, we've got Steph, we've got Jimmy, we've got 2 guys who can, make the big play down the stretch, who have done that their whole careers. So it still comes back to our keys of, taking care of the basketball and containing penetration at the other end, finishing possessions.
You went with Steph to start the second and fourth last game, and Jimmy not. That's definitely different. Is that a one-time thing, what were you thinking by doing that?
Yeah, we'll keep doing that. We're just trying to shake things up a little bit. We want to limit the amount of time that Jimmy was playing straight through. Without Steph, it's like an 8-minute stretch, and felt like a lot. And so, we talked to Steph, and of course he's always willing to change up his rotation. And it's nice having him out there at the beginning of the fourth. We just have to make sure we get him enough rest, because we've done this in the past. The danger is his minutes climb, because you take him out. In the middle of the fourth, and you can't wait to get him back in. It's easier psychologically to have him not start the fourth. But I think him starting the fourth makes some sense for us, and hopefully we can keep his minutes, throughout the game down a little bit.
I'm sorry, when you say you're trending in the right direction on the things that you're focused on, that's turnovers.
What we're focused on, until the other night, our turnovers have been better. Our crashing offensively has been better. Our spacing in transition has been better. We had about 5 beautiful transition plays the other night where nothing was there. We just made a jump stop and pitched the ball back and got wide open looks. And those are important plays. We just we can't force the issue when it's not there. And if we're spaced in transition, we're running to the corners, then we're getting really good looks. We're doing that better.
Do you have an update on Al?
Yeah, he's just getting back to basketball work. So his injury is healed, but now, it's been a couple of weeks, whatever it's been, 10, 11 days. So he's got to get back on the court now and, get his wind back, his timing back.
So out Thursday, I would assume.
Doubtful, I would say, yeah.
Sort of following up on Sam's question about clutch games. Obviously, when you're in the last 4 or 5 minutes of a close game, you want Steph taking most of the shots. How do you do that and keep Jimmy involved in you've talked so much about how Jimmy creates for others. How do you meld those two ambitions, I guess?
Well, we did it last year, after we got Jimmy last year, we found the perfect balance, and we took care of the ball. We defended at a high level, and both Steph and Jimmy took turns taking over games. So we have the formula. We just have to look right back to the end of last season.
Did you see Joe Lacob had an email that, I don't know, leak, whatever you want to call it. Did you see it?
Yeah. Raymond told me the story. It's not a big deal.
Yeah.
I'm not concerned about anything like that.
I mean, it did, I guess, express a sense of frustration with the current situation. I guess
Yeah.
how are you feeling, not only, above you, below you, players, all that, just like the growing frustration at 13 and 14?
Well, we're all frustrated. Joe is frustrated. I'm frustrated. Steph and Dre, everybody's frustrated. And this is, kind of how the league works. And, I hate when people, are going to post private emails. Imagine if everyone's emails were just publicly posted, how tough that would be to live our lives. So Joe supports me 100%. I support him. We have a great connection, and we've had so much continuity here, and our stable environment in our organization is one of our strengths. And that I didn't even know about it, but Raymond told me about it. It's not a big deal.
Just back to the starting lineup, it does have Draymond next to QP. That's a duo that has worked, but historically the lineups with Draymond at center have been really, really potent. This year, not as much. I think they're neutral. What have you seen when you guys downshift to Draymond at center?
You mean when he's at the 5? What do I see? Well, we're more dynamic, speed-wise and disruptive defensively. When he's at the 5, he's pushing the ball. He's playing against other 5s. And he's playing center field and, blowing up a lot of things defensively. But when he's at the 4, he's more on the perimeter offensively. So we're not quite as dynamic, but I think the trade-off is a good one. We get some minutes for him at the 4. We can always close the game with him at the 5 anytime we want. And this will give QP, who's had a great year, who's playing at a very high level, especially defensively, the size, the rebounding. I like that. We're a pretty small team in general. So to get QP in the starting lineup with Dre, it feels good.
I know all seasons are different, but can you look back on any previous seasons with this team that this feels like it, or this sort of urgency reminds me of this time when we were in December, like just a year ago is when you traded for Schroeder.
Right.
Do you mention these things? Do you reflect on those things?
Yeah, it feels a lot like last year, ironically. At the trade deadline, I think we were 500. We were very inconsistent. We traded for Dennis first and then Jimmy, obviously, as we were searching for answers, and we found it. And I'm very, very confident that this group will find it because, we already have Jimmy. And when we're healthy, I think the lineup is really formidable. I think we have depth. I think we have everything we need. So it's on me to put it together and to help these guys find the rhythm and the confidence that I know they have inside them.
What's up, Moses? Steve mentioned that he plans on giving the starting lineup, the group that started Sunday, a longer look. in an effort to establish some continuity. I know that you guys are able to stick with a lineup down the stretch last year. For you, how much does lineup continuity, I guess, matter? What have you noticed when you've been in situations where there has been lineup continuity here?
Consistency is good, so you can get a feel and comfort in your role and your spot and know it. But it's the NBA, so you gotta be ready to adjust.
Brandon said that getting stops is something you guys haven't done very well late in games recently. How much does that lack of continuity impact that late game defense or just being able to get stops down the stretch?
I wouldn't really relate the two personally. When it comes down the stretch, no matter what your disadvantages are, you gotta make it happen. So, I wouldn't put that on any decision like that. But you just got to figure it out.
In that lineup, from the starting lineup last game, do you see yourself as more of the 2 or the 3 there?
I don't really think it matters on this team. 1 through 4 is the same position. So, yeah.
What do you think should work, like with that particular unit? You, Steph, Jimmy, Draymond, post.
I think Steph being able to do what Steph has been doing, and then guys that can play around that, as well as Jimmy being able to create for himself and others, surrounded by shooters, and then Dre anchoring the defensive side. I think it's just a lot of options, a lot of threats.
Steve mentioned after last game that you guys sort of need to do more to play through Jimmy and get him the ball more. How do you what adjustments do you make to get Jimmy into a groove offensively?
I think just get him the ball. Get him the ball in ideal situations, and then he can handle the rest because it's cool the way Jimmy plays because he's aggressive, but he's aggressive and to create an advantage. He's not aggressive to score every time. He's aggressive to create an advantage. So sometimes he might score, sometimes he might pass, but that gets everybody else involved and creates a flow through the offense.
Moses, how's the group doing? It's been so up and down pretty much all year. How is everybody feeling day to day right now?
Good question. I would say good through and through. A lot of highs and lows. We're not a lot of professionals on the team, so it's not dealing with the childish emotions or any of that. It's more so grown men trying to figure something out, and that's from the coaching staff to the last player on the bench. It's not as much emotions of, oh, you said this, you said that, rather than a group of men trying to figure something out, and that's cool to see.
Does it feel around the same like last year around this time, or does it feel different right now within the locker room?
Feels different. I'm not exactly sure the situation last year at this time, but these last couple of games, so many games this year we should have won. And coming down to the end like that, to where we're not far off. One shot goes differently, and this is a whole different conversation. And I think we're able to realize that. Coach is able to realize that, and so nobody's panicking. More so as we're trying to figure that out, just figure out a little bit, because I think it happens a lot of times where you'll be so close to what you want, and you just need to change something. So you change something, and then you're a lot further away than what you actually were trying to get to. So I think it's a delicate situation, as well as we just got to figure it out, and that's what we're working towards.
What was clicking last year in that 2023 when you guys closed 23-8 on the season versus now, where it's maybe less consistent and less solid?
I think we were a lot healthier for that stretch. Right now, a lot of the lineup changes have been due to injuries. last week. We didn't have Dre, Steph, or Jimmy, so I think that has a lot to do with it. And essentially, too, it's like what coach has been doing, what he always does, try to figure stuff out until you figure out what works, and then you figure out what works and stick with it. So I think we're finding that.
Where do you feel like you guys are at from a rotation standpoint? I know there's been a lot of guys in and out of the lineup, but just trying to develop some continuity.
I'm not really sure. It's just whatever Steve's going to do is what he's going to do, and everybody's got to just control what they can. And when you're out there, just play as hard as you can.
Steve did say that he's going to, obviously depending on injuries, stick with that starting five that played last game. Just how important is that, though, to know, like, this is my role, players that are younger or older?
I think it builds confidence, it builds trust, it builds feeling okay to play through mistakes. It builds all those things. So, like I said, everybody's going to control what they can.
What are you noticing about late game execution right now? Where do you feel like you guys can be better?
We didn't get many stops last game. Neither did we in Minnesota. So I think that's just where it starts. And then if you don't get stops, it makes it that much harder to have to feel like you have to score on offense. Or if you get stops, you have that room for error.
What is preventing you guys, in your mind, from getting stops?
Little things within our defense that we talk about all the time that we just are not doing.
You mentioned, like the importance of being able to play through your mistakes.
Mm-hmm.
Is that tension something that you've felt more this year than in the past?
Nah, I don't really look at it like that. I just go out there and whether I play 2, 12, 22, 32 minutes, just give it all I can.